What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's Daniel, and welcome back to our video. Today, I'm doing another silly season update. We're going to recap everything that's happened so far in the 2023 to 2024 NASCAR Cup Xfinity Series and Truck Series silly season. Let's go ahead and just jump straight into it. In the second week of January, it was officially announced that Kevin Harvick would retire at the end of the 2023 NASCAR Cup Series season. After 23 years of successful racing in the NASCAR Cup Series, Kevin Harvick will retire and join the Fox Sports booth, where he'll join Mike Joy and Clint Bowyer in 2024. He's looking to do a really good job in the booth. About a couple days later, it was then announced that Kyle Larson would officially run the 2024 and also the 2025 Indianapolis 500s, joining Aaron McLaren, and will have Hendrick support as well. Kyle Larson will be in a very competitive team and will have a shot and a chance to win the Indianapolis 500. Silly season be quiet for a couple weeks, and then Casey Mears actually spoke to the media at the Phoenix test for the short track package when they were working on the short track package, and Casey Mears says that he wants to return to NASCAR and get the 500 starts in all of NASCAR's top three divisions. There's obviously Legacy Motor Club, so we could see Casey Mears potentially return in the not-so-distant future. Silly season be quiet for a couple more weeks, and then in late January, early February, it would be announced that Chase Briscoe has signed a multi-year contract extension with Stewart-Haas Racing. The details were not officially given, but it's likely that he's going to be there for a very, very long time, as Chase Briscoe, while he's strong in 2023, looks to improve in 2024. Silly season then will be quiet for a couple more days, and then during Daytona media weeks, we would get a bunch of silly season announcements. First, Daniel Suarez would officially announce he has signed a multi-year extension with Trackhouse Racing. It's expected his contract right now goes to the 2025 season, but I would imagine that Daniel Suarez's contract will go a lot longer. On that same day, it was announced that Alex Bowman also signed a contract extension with Hendrick Motorsports through the 2026 season. In addition to that, Ally had also signed their sponsorship through the 2028 season, so I would imagine that he is going to likely get another couple-year extension. If Alex Bowman can continue performing better on the racetrack, he will likely get extension probably through the 2028 season. And then the next day, it was announced that Ross Chastain had also signed a long-term extension with Trackhouse Racing. The details were not officially announced how long he'll be there, but he's likely going to be there for the rest of his career. I think Ty Norris made a little bit of joke saying that he's going to be there until his beard is gray. So Ross Chastain has a long-term deal and will continue driving for Trackhouse Racing for many, many years to come. After that, silly season will be quiet for a little bit, and then we started hearing some rumors about 2311. As Steve Alletta wanting Sirius Sim NASCAR Radio, and he says that 2311 Racing is planning expansion for the long term. While they might not have three full-time cars in 2024, the team wants a long-term expand. Obviously, they got that third 2311 Racing car that we've seen Travis Strana driving, waiting for Kurt Busch to eventually come back, and also we're going to see Kamui Kobayashi drive. They're looking to long-term expand. Then, after Austin Hill won at Atlanta Motor Speedway, so silly season quiet for a few weeks, Austin Hill spoke to the media after he says he wants to go cup racing full-time in 2024. Now, Rich Rose Racing will obviously need a charter if they're going to jump up full-time in the 2024 season. But how good Austin Hill has been in 2023, it would not surprise or shock me if Austin Hill does decide to go full-time in the Cup Series in 2024. Then a couple weeks later, Mark Rushbrook, who is the executive of Ford, went basically on SiriusXM NASCAR Radio, and he says that Ford is long-term committed to Hailie Deegan. And there is a potential possibility that if Hailie Deegan's performance does end up improving, that she could move up to the Xfinity in 2024, or if she brings sponsorship funding, there's a really good chance that she can move up the Xfinity Series heading into the 2024 season. Hailie Deegan, while she struggled in trucks, I think there's a chance and possibility that we're going to see her maybe move up in Xfinity. She did really good in her debut. Watch for that, because I think she could move up to Xfinity in 2024. After that, we turn to talk about Junior Motorsports, as Junior Motorsports has had a lot of talks and conversations about trying to move up the Cup really since the start of the 2021 season after Josh Berry picked up his first career Xfinity Series victory earlier in that year at Martinsville. And they've been trying to get up to the Cup Series, but one thing that's been holding Junior Motorsports back is basically trying to acquire a charter. Charters right now are currently $30 million at this particular moment. We know that Junior Motorsports wants to make the jump up the Cup, and they could potentially make the jump up. There's a lot of good drivers who could have possibility of getting into the rides. Obviously, you got guys like Carl Edwards. You got Matt DiBenedetto's in the Chevy camp. You got Roger Cruve, Carson Osvar, who could get shots and opportunities, but we know that Junior Motorsports wants to make the jump up the Cup in the foreseeable future. On the same Dale Jr. episode, Chip Ganassi was on the episode, and he says that Chip Ganassi is not ruling out a potential return to NASCAR. Chip Ganassi raced in NASCAR from 2001 up until the end of 2021 when they sold their stock over to Trackhouse Racing. They want to make a return eventually. I don't know if it will be in 2024. Could be in 2025, but we know that Chip Ganassi Racing is interested in making a jump up to NASCAR once again, and it could happen in the foreseeable future. Over this year, we've talked a lot about Kurt Busch. As Kurt Busch has talked a lot about trying to return to NASCAR. Obviously, Kurt Busch is not going to be racing full-time in NASCAR. He wants to come back full-time. We know that. He says he's been trying. He does say that he's getting close to returning to NASCAR. He says there's some certain things that are holding him back. He's been doing go-karting, all that kind of stuff. He says things are improving, though, on a day-by-day basis. But as they talk about 2311 Racing, there is a third car at 2311. So Kurt Busch, if he does return, he would drive that third and number 67 car. Obviously, he's got Monster Energy really behind him and backing him, so it's potentially possible that Kurt Busch could jump up and drive any third 2311 racing car and make a return. Then at the Circuit Americas weekend, Jensen Barnes said that he was interested in potentially running full-time in NASCAR. Now, obviously, could he go into Cup Series? We'd have to wait and see. But he also could run the Xfinity Series as well. You've got teams like Stewart-Haas Racing, RSS Racing, or in the Ford camp, who I think would be interested in giving him a shot and opportunity. I can see Jensen Barnes running a few more races in the future, but it looks like that he's interested in racing in NASCAR full-time. And then a few weeks later, I believe in early April, in really shocking fashion, or early May, Legacy Motor Club would announce that they would be switching to Toyota in the 2024 season. Noah Gragson will continue driving the 42 car in 2024, and Eric Jones will continue driving the 43 car in the 2024 season. It's also been announced and basically confirmed over the last couple weeks that Jimmy Johnson will drive a Toyota at some point in 2024. Noah Gragson and Eric Jones are two former drivers of the TRD pipeline, so this is a really big comeback. Obviously, Legacy Motor Club has struggled in 2023, so they hope to improve heading into 2024. Then, at the Miami Grand Prix weekend, the second weekend of May, Lewis Hamilton spoke to the media, and he said that he was interested in potentially going into NASCAR. Now, Lewis Hamilton does have some stock car experience doing that exchange with Tony Stewart, but it's interesting that he is interested, and we could see Lewis Hamilton potentially come to NASCAR in maybe the foreseeable future. Then after Ryan Truex won at Dover, he says he's currently working on a full-time ride for the 2024 season, potentially with Joe Gibbs Racing in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Ryan Truex, after winning at Dover, he's done a really, really good job in his select starts with JGR over the last couple of years, and I think he deserves a shot and an opportunity to go back to racing. Then we've started talking a lot about Carl Edwards, because over the last couple months, Carl Edwards has returned to the spotlight of the sport. He's not ruling out a potential return to racing. He says that if he could come back for potentially a one-off start in a foreseeable future, there's a couple teams that have been interested. Carl Edwards did say that he did go visit a Trackhouse Racing shop in early May, and he also recently did say that, and we heard from Denny Hamlin, that he actually 2311 Racing has been potentially interested in having Carl Edwards drive them in for them in the foreseeable future. And he also has been working with Joe Gibbs Racing not too much recently, and he's really helping the team with the Chicago Street Course. So that's probably a big reason why JGR and Toyota has been very, very fast. But Carl Edwards could potentially make a return in the foreseeable future. He's not ruling out that possibility. Then at the Darlington Throwback Weekend, Kasey Kahne revealed to the media that he's considering a return to NASCAR. Kasey Kahne has not raced full-time in NASCAR since technically the 2018 season, but retired early due to concussion-like symptoms and health issues. Kasey Kahne did say he's feeling much better, and he hopes to make a return in the foreseeable future, which if he does return, will be really, really great for the sport. Then over the last couple weeks, we've talked a lot about Brody Casteki, because Brody Casteki could race in the NASCAR Xfinity Series in the 2023 season. Aravis Racing, which is the team that Brody Casteki drives for, has an alliance with Joe Gibbs Racing and RCR, and Brody Casteki was spotted at Gateway talking to Richard Childress Racing. So there's a big chance and a possibility that Brody Casteki could come to NASCAR in the foreseeable future. Then around basically the Memorial Day weekend, we started getting a lot of indications and reports about Josh Berry. But it was officially announced a few weeks ago that Josh Berry will drive for Stewart-Haas Racing in the 2024 season in the number 4 car, replacing Kevin Harvick. And Rodney Childers is going to be the crew chief. Josh Berry, I think, deserves his opportunity. Did really good in the select starts, and also makes a lot of sense. Rodney Childers really wanted to work with Josh Berry. This is a really big pickup for the team, and I think Josh Berry is going to do a very awesome and amazing job with Stewart-Haas Racing, though SHR has been struggling. Then, after the Legacy Motor Club announcement in the Memorial Day weekend, Roger Kurf revealed to the media that he does not have a ride for 2024 and is currently a free agent. Roger will be looking for a ride heading into 2024. I think of how impressive Rod has been recently, I can see Roger Kurf having a chance and a shot and opportunity to potentially race somewhere in 2024, whether it's Xfinity or trucks, or there's a chance Roger will be racing in somewhere in NASCAR in 2024. Then Trevor Bayne later spoke to media and Racer.com Kelly Crandall, and he says he will race sometime in the 2023 season. He did reveal, however, he could have raced full-time in 2023 with JGR and Xfinity and almost had a deal done. However, the sponsor, which I think was Devotion Nutrition, which had been sponsoring him select starts in the NASCAR Xfinity Series in 2022, I think they fell through, and that's why Trevor Bayne is not running full-time, but there's a chance Trevor Bayne will likely race sometime in the 2023 season. Then in the first weekend of June, we started getting a lot of rumblings about some potential silly season moves from Jordan Bianchi. First, Aragon Roll could retire at the end of the 2023 season. While it's not officially confirmed, it's still 50-50 right now. Smithfield is obviously very committed to Aragon Roll. They're one of the reasons why Aragon Roll did come back for the 2023 season. There is a very good chance and a very strong possibility that at the end of the season that he could retire from the NASCAR Cup Series, and there will be some potential replacements, which leads to the next point. The two lead candidates right now at this moment for that 10 car, if Eric Omro should retire, are Michael McDowell and Zane Smith. Both drivers currently drive for Front Row Motorsports. Michael McDowell has been very impressive with the Front Row Motorsports group, especially over the last couple of years. He did win the 2021 Daytona 500, but he's only right now 10 points below the cutoff line. It has a really good chance and a possibility of making the playoffs in 2023 on points. Zane Smith's been really impressive in the Truck Series, has been driving for Front Row Motorsports for the last couple years, and has made select NASCAR Cup Series starts. There's a very good chance and possibility that one of these two could be the favorites. If not one of these two, I think you have to look at drivers in a lower pipeline like Riley Herbst, Cole Custer. Cole Custer is going to make some starts at Rick Ware Racing. You've got Haley Deegan, Matt DiBenedetto could also be possibilities, and Harrisonburg could be a possibility as well. In the same line, though, of Front Row Motorsports, Jordan Bianchi did report that Todd Gillen has now worked on a contract at this moment with Front Row Motorsports. Now, obviously, Todd Gillen has got sponsorship for the rest of the 2023 season, with Serial 1 confirmed that they would be sponsoring for some more races. But Todd Gillen is not signed a deal currently with Front Row, and he's currently looking to have a deal maybe signed in the not-so-distant future with Front Row. If you're Front Row, you got to keep Todd Gillen for the long-term future, because I think Todd Gillen has a lot of potential to be a Cup Series champion one day. In that same article, it was revealed that Mark Truex Jr. is expected to return to Joe Gibbs Racing in 2024. While not officially confirmed at this given moment how good Mark Truex Jr. has been performing in the 2023 season, already scoring 2 wins, technically 3 if you count the Busch Light Clash, it doesn't surprise nor shock me that Mark Truex Jr. is likely going to return. He's had some lifestyle changes that have happened behind the scenes as well that I think will keep him in that number 19 car in 2024. In that same article, it was revealed to Harrisonburg that right now it's 50-50 that he could return to the Wood Brothers, but also could leave the Wood Brothers in 2024. And a lot of that revolves around his sponsor, that being Dex Imaging. Dex Imaging has been very loyal to Harrisonburg throughout his career, and they are a big reason that he will likely could stay. But I think there's a good chance he returns to the Wood Brothers in 2024. Then it was revealed in that same article that Justin Haley, while he is on a contract year with Kaulig Racing, he is expected to return to Kaulig Racing in 2024 and continue working long term, as Chris Rice really likes working with Justin Haley. Justin Haley's had some pretty decent success coming off a second place finish in the Chicago Street Course event. He'll be looking to do really good things with the Kaulig Racing group. And then in that same article, it was revealed that Denny Hamlin is expected to return to Joe Gibbs Racing in 2024. And just a few weeks weeks ago, it was reported by Adam Stern that FedEx is close to signing an extension. We'll get to why that is potentially happening, but FedEx has been a loyal sponsor of Denny Hamlin. Yes, they haven't sponsored Denny Hamlin as much, but that's one of the big reasons why Denny Hamlin has not officially signed a contract at this point, but it's expected at this point that Denny Hamlin will return to Joe Gibbs Racing in the 2024 season. It is expected at this point. Then, over the last couple weeks, there's been a lot of rumors about Carson Osvar. And there's a potential possibility that Carson Osvar could join Junior Motorsports on a full-time basis in the number 8 car in 2024. He has been very impressive. He's been catching a lot of eyes in a really, really positive way. And I think that Junior Motorsports, if they're looking at the future, has been driving the 77 car in Xfinity for Spire, which has an alliance with Junior Motorsports. And I think Carson Osvar would be a very good fit and would do a really good job with the Junior Motorsports group. Then at the Sonoma Raceway weekend about 2 or 3 weeks ago, Greg Biffle spoke to me, and he's interested in returning to NASCAR. One of the big things, he's looking to potentially race in the Xfinity Series in 2024. Shall Portland return in 2024? Now, Greg Biffle obviously has raced in NASCAR in 2022. He ran some races for MY Racing, but he struggled. But I think Greg Biffle would like to race for a very, very competitive team and have a chance to be up front and go and compete for victories. I think Greg Biffle hopefully can return, even though he's a much older driver. He'll be 54 when he's the start of that 2024 season. There's a chance he could return. Then about a week or two ago, it was revealed that Joe Gibbs has sold a minority stake in his company to Harris' brother, HBSC, which is basically the guy who is going to basically Josh Harrison. I think is the guy who's going to be a new owner of the Washington Commanders. Obviously, there's been new ownership coming in. The biggest thing to know is that the team name is not going to be changing heading into 2024. Basically, at this point, it's basically just going to be partial ownership. Basically, what they're going to basically be doing is bringing some cash flow, which is going to be really, really huge for the long term of Joe Gibbs Racing, potentially keeping things around long term, which is where FedEx comes into play because FedEx plays a huge role in the Washington Commanders. Then, during the broadcast, basically the press conference for Josh Berry going to Stewart-Haas Racing about 2 weeks ago, Tony Stewart revealed that Stewart-Haas Racing is likely staying before in 2024. Obviously, there's people that think that they can switch to manufacturers, but it sounds like at this point, the Stewart-Haas Racing will not be switching manufacturers. Got a lot of things they need to work on going into 2024. Obviously, lineups and sponsorship for Josh Berry is a big thing they have to work on. Also, getting performance better out on the racetrack. Hopefully, Stewart-Haas Racing can do that and fix some of their issues. Then, about a week or two ago, we saw Front Stretch interview Quinn Heary. And Quinn Heary says he's currently not interested in returning to NASCAR at this particular moment. Quinn Heary has not raced full-time in NASCAR since 2021 season. He thought he'd be racing in 2022, but when basically Starcom stuff got bought up by the money team, he has not raced since. He's content on life, and it sounds like he's not going to be returning in the distant future. Then, over the last week or two, it got reported by Adam Stern that Andretti Autosport is kicking the tires on deals in NASCAR and could possibly enter NASCAR in the coming years. Now, Andretti Autosport almost came to NASCAR in the 2013 season, and they were supposed to have Kurt Busch and potentially Matt Kenseth in 2013. Hence why Kurt Busch did end up driving their car in the Indy 500 in 2014, and they were supposed to come in and Dodge was supposed to stay. But after Dodge left at the end of 2012, basically Andretti Autosport did not make the jump. But it sounds like Andretti Autosport could come. Will it happen in 2024? I don't know, but it could happen maybe in 2025 or maybe in the foreseeable future. Then over the last week or so, Frankie Muniz has actually spoken to me about his future past 2023, and he says he's hoping to move up to the Xfinity Series or Truck Series in 2024 if ready. Frankie Muniz has been very impressive in ARCA so far in 2024, and I would imagine that some teams are potentially looking at him, but it's really cool to see Frankie Muniz. He's committed. He really loves racing in the series. I think Frankie Muniz would do an amazing and a very, very good job. I think there's a really good chance and possibility that we're going to see Frankie Muniz going out and racing in the Xfinity Series or Truck Series in 2024. And then finally, most recently, in the last day or two, Shane Van Gisbergen has spoken to media. Obviously picked up his first career NASCAR Cup Series victory in his first start. And he's interested in potentially going full-time in NASCAR. Now, he says he has one more year on his deal in the Repco Supercar Series in 2025. However, Jamie Whincup was basically like the Dale Earnhardt of the Supercar Series. he basically said that he would not be surprised if Shane Van Gisbergen leaves a year early to go full-time in NASCAR in 2024. And I think Shane Van Gisbergen deserves an opportunity to go full-time. I would love to see him make some more starts in NASCAR, but I think he's interested coming in NASCAR, and I think he would do a really good job racing in NASCAR, whether it's for Trackhouse or another team, maybe 3 full-time entries. It'd be really cool for him to have a shot and an opportunity to race there. So that is everything that's happened up to this point in silly season. Let's talk about some other notables. John Hunter Nemechek. John Hunter Nemechek seems to have brought up a lot of conversations, obviously, with Stewart-Haas Racing, but one of the main things is with Joe Gibbs Racing. Obviously, John Hunter Nemechek is basically the highest driver up in the totem. Shall Denny Hamlin, Mark Trick Jr. leave there, but it's likely that he'll be in the Xfinity Series once again in 2024 unless things change. Next, Rick Ware Racing could end up selling a charter at the end of the 2023 season. We obviously know what happened with Cody Ware. They're a team to watch for in the silly season because we don't know if they'll have 2 cars or 1 car in 2024, or maybe they'll get someone like Riley Herbst or Cole Custer to drive for the team. And finally, Spire Motorsports. Spire Motorsports currently has 2 charters at the moment, and I think there's a really good chance that they're going to sell their charter, whether it's to Richard Childress Racing or whether it is to Junior Motorsports. I think they're going to end up selling their charter at the end of the season. So, that is going to be for the next official silly season update. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please like, subscribe to the channel, notifications on, just when a video does go live on my channel. Follow me Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and support me on Patreon as well. Links description below that, and comment your thoughts below on today's episode. What are your thoughts on the silly season up to this point so far? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'm not sure if I'm having another video up later today on the channel. Tomorrow we're going to have race picks for the NASCAR Cup Series race at the upcoming race at Atlanta. And then tomorrow on the channel, and then of course on Friday, we'll basically have a long NASCAR news video recapping everything that's happened this week. Then we'll also have race reviews and all that kind of stuff throughout the week for Atlanta Motor Speedway. We're also getting close to 2,000 subscribers on the channel, so if you're new to the channel and enjoyed today's video, make sure to subscribe. So anyways, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's episode, and I'll see you guys next time for more great, awesome NASCAR content and other motorsports content on the channel like this. Take care, everybody.